Are you ready, Miss Ashley?
Yep, it's
Okay.
ready.
Well, let's go ahead and get started. If you would please turn to page 1. We're just going to look. Jeez. This is the steps that you take to use the evangelism trailer, and we'll go over just some details in just a minute. Just call the association office. It's got the number there. Talk with Candy, and she'll get it reserved. You will need to complete 2 forms in order to check out the trailer. Those are on page 33 and 35, and we'll get to those in just a second. Step 3 is you need to send in 2 checks like we mentioned. One check is a $100 deposit, which will be returned as long as the trailer is clean and organized and put back the way it is. And then the other $100 is just a user's fee, and that goes into a giant account to help us keep everything maintained, maintenance up on the blow-ups in the trailer and everything else like that. Step 5, we'll skip step 4. Step 5, appropriate time for pickup from the trailer of the Western Union Baptist Association. If you look there, it says to transport the trailer. Make sure the transport vehicle meets the following tow requirements. Full-size truck, which is your Ford F-150s, your Dodge 1500s, and your Chevy 1500s. Has to be a V8 engine with a 2 5/16 inch ball. If you don't have that, we have one on the trailer. So no worries if you don't have that ball. It also has a circle connector that goes in, and most of your newer trucks have the old 4 one that the old Chevys used to have and the circle one, but it does have a circle one in there for that to hook up your lights and your trailer brakes. You'll need a copy of your insurance, and we'll get to more of that on a different page. Step 7, return the trailer back to the agreed upon location in the same condition that it was found or better. We prefer better. Number 8, return the completed forms to ensure prompt return of your $100 deposit. So if we can go ahead and jump on to page 2, I'm going to just tell you the gist of each one so we don't have to read over it because y'all are smart people. Y'all know how to read. All right, so we just want to go over the main things. Number 1, the purpose for this trailer is outreach and evangelism. Not for birthday parties, not for fundraisers. So do not use the popcorn, the cornhole machine, the inflatables to raise money for your church. This is strictly for outreach and evangelism. The second one, it talks about reservations by your pastor or church leader by contacting the WUBA office. Your pastor or church leader must come in and sign for the trailer. However, the pastor can call the office and authorize a member of the church to come and sign up for the forms and get the trailer. If you reserve the trailer for the weekend, we ask that you pick it up by 2 p.m. on Friday. My wife leaves at 3 p.m. sharp, not 1 second after. So just come and get it picked up by 2 p.m. If you have another church that is reserving it for that same weekend, Candy will let you know so you and that church can make plans to meet somewhere and to swap out the trailer. Number 3, the scheduling is only for the year that you're in, January 1st through December 31st of that year. We cannot reserve for December 2020 because we want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to use this thing. So if you have an event going on next year, January 1st, you can reserve it. Number 4, the trailer is on a first come, first served basis. VBS is every other year unless the week that you're using, that you want for VBS, no one has reserved it. But that has to be within 30 days, if I remember correctly, of your VBS event. So let's say you use it in 2018. For example, we used it last year. And so in order for us to be able to use it this year for our event, we have to wait 30 days before our event to make sure that no other church wants to try to use it. And as long as no other church has tried to get it within 30 days of our event, then we can go ahead and do it. Or 60 days of your VBS. I'm sorry, 60 days, not 30 days. So that's a little bit better for you. Number 5, churches may only use it for one holiday per weekend. If you do like a July 4th thing, we only want you to do it for one holiday per weekend per year. Number 6, no more than 4 calendar days may be scheduled 60 days in advance. So 2 months out, we don't want you scheduling all summer, all your events. Once again, these are just to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity to use it. Churches, number 7 is very important. Churches must provide a certificate of liability. Once it is on your property, it then becomes your responsibility. And we're going to look at the truck insurances in here in just a minute, why we need truck insurance, a copy of that as well. But your church must have a certificate of liability that they give to Candy to make sure that your insurance policy is able to cover if someone's injured. For example, your adult walks away for just a second. Maybe they get distracted by another kid, and little Jimmy's up there bouncing up and down, and then he just happens to fall off the wrong place. That your church liability can cover the insurance that is necessary to take care of that. Number 9, we talked about this a little bit. A half-ton truck is needed to adequately pull the trailer. The trailer requires 2 5/16 ball. There is one provided if you need it. What's important is number 9, letter A. For stability, the trailer must be connected when you are loading and unloading. All right, because there is a lot of weight. That thing weighs about 400 or 500 pounds. You get towards the end of that trailer, it's not connected to the vehicle. You're going to hear, "Wah!" And that's where people are falling out of the end of the trailer because it gets extremely, extremely heavy. We want the tires to be chocked if the vehicle is disconnected from the trailer. Once you've got everything off, and let's say the guy who towed it needs to run to town or something, get more gas, and you say, okay, well, we're going to unhook it. We want the tires chocked. And that way, if someone does have to get in there and get something, it doesn't start rolling or anything else like that. The hitch block, this is letter C, must be put in place when the trailer is unhooked and left attended. For example, me and my buddy who helped me set this up, we went to go get something to eat afterwards, and we left the trailer here. We had the lock on the trailer hitch so where people couldn't take off with the trailer because it's kind of expensive. Number 10, pretty much is saying all equipment, supplies, utensils, accessories must be accounted for. Number 11, don't have any kids. I mean, this is simple stuff, folks, things that you would know. No children are allowed on the trailer while it is being operated, while it's being loaded and unloaded, because this is very heavy equipment and someone could very easily get injured. Teens can help, but we want them to be accompanied by an adult because they can be distracted as soon as their phone vibrates. You must use the popcorn kits that we provide with the popcorn machine, but like I mentioned to you guys earlier, the popcorn machine is now off it. If you need it, then you can request it with Candy. We'll make sure it gets put on the trailer. Oh, you wanted to add something because you're looking at me. Okay. You're just that much in love with me, ain't you? You can edit that. All right, number 13. Number 13, we encourage a minimum donation of $100. If you're feeling just froggy and you want to give $150, we're not going to tell you no. But that all we require is $100 and then the $100 deposit, and that'll be returned once all your forms are completed and it is returned clean. Now, we're going to have to be a little bit stricter. I want to tell you all ahead of time, we're going to have to be a little bit stricter on not giving the deposit back if the forms are not filled out, because it's been getting a little slack, and we want to make sure that all the forms are filled out, especially what equipment's being used, or if there's something wrong with the equipment, you'll have a form that you can fill out for that. That way we know what's going on.
I got something to say.
Okay.
The state, if they want to audit, they can audit my books, and then we get in trouble if it's not all filled out correctly. So,
very serious about this stuff. Number 14, the trailer and all machines are to be cleaned properly before returning to WUBA. Let me also say, we don't want you using these in the rain, all right? But if for some reason, you set them out in the morning and just there's a morning dew or something, or if you get it and it smells kind of maybe musty or moldy, maybe someone rolled it up when it was still wet, the best way to fix it is just set it out in the sun. And that November, when we did it in November, I guess it had gotten some dew on it or something. When we opened it up, we could smell it. And so before our event, we had it setting out in the sun for a couple hours, fixed it right up. It took care of everything. So number 15, all machines must be properly cleaned and securely stored. 16, don't leave trash in the trailer. 17, trailer must be locked and returned to WUBA office by appointed time. Number 18, trailer must be parked inside the green building if delivered during regular office hours, or parked at the office and the hitch lock put in place if returned during non-business hours. But that is not really the case, because when you rent it, she gives you a key to the green building behind the association that also comes with a lock for the key for the pads on the trailer itself, so you can still get it into the building. All right, you'll have that key. Let's see. Number 19, keys, tally sheet, and checklist must be returned to WUBA office when you return the trailer. There is a little basket next to the door that you can put all the forms in, and Candy will go and grab that. Let's see. Yep. All right. So on to page 5, which is instructions for setup. Obviously, number 1 is important. Locate a level spot. If it's unlevel and your kids start bouncing, that thing's liable to fall over, and they can fall over. Determine your location of power source. And like I said to some of y'all that are here, there is a generator that can be provided. All you have to do is request the generator, and we'll make sure that it gets loaded up on the trailer for you. And there's also a gas can, but we do ask that you put your gas in it and to use it. The generator, we tested it out in November. We'll run both of those blowers for the big one and the small one without tripping anything. Now, we did try at Fremont, I think. We tried to run all 4, and it started tripping the generator. So I don't think it can handle all 4 blowers, because you have 2 for the big one and then 1 for each small one. And we know it ran 3 successfully, and it ran them for a couple hours without having trouble. So it can run 3. Clean any debris, sticks, rocks, sharp objects, anything like that that could poke through and mess with the blower. We don't have a tarp in here because obviously there's no sticks and stuff. So if you do it inside, you still may want to lay the tarp down, because if your kids start jumping, that thing can scooch and maybe possibly scuff up your floor. We're not going to be jumping on that tonight unless you just want to try one trip down the slide. I'll let you have that. But we're not going to be jumping out of the lot, so we don't have that tarp out here for you tonight. But they are on the trailer. The biggest one is on the bottom. So you have a big one for this one, and then you'll have one for each small one. And they're all on the shelf in there, and we'll take you out there and let you see that. Place the appropriate blower, this is number 6, with the inflatable. You'll definitely see it on the front of that one because I just remarked it. But what it is when these things are inspected, one blower is inspected with one blow up. And so we have each one marked on the blower and on the blow up. It'll say either WUBA 1 or WUBA 2. That's for the 2 small ones. And this one is WUBA 3 and WUBA 4. Now, it doesn't matter which side you put WUBA 3 and WUBA 4. It's just I can't use the orange one on this big one, because when the state inspector inspected it, he inspected it with that blower for that blow up. And that's he knows for sure that machine will run that blow up. And there are tags on it that are on the blowers. We ask that you do not rip that off, because those are a state tag that shows that it has been inspected for that year. So, and I'll show you that once we get over there. You want to make sure that it is the right blower with the right blow up. If they were to come and inspect it and it said WUBA 2 on WUBA 1 blow up, they can shut you down or they'll fine you. They're pretty serious about it.
And they know that you have it because I have to turn it in.
Yes, so the state does know, because anytime that you rent it out, she is required by the state to turn in the event, because like I said, once it gets to your church, it now becomes a carnival, even though we don't have the dangerous rides like the the McCracken County Fair. It's still considered a carnival, and therefore the Department of Agriculture can fine us if need be. Number 8, secure each tie down, which is this right here. We have stakes that you can drive into the ground if it's on grass, and we ask that you put orange cones, which are also on the trailer, over the stakes so no kid stubs a toe or anything like that. But if you're inside or you're on an asphalt parking lot or something like that, we have these 50-pound bags, and they just hook right in here like that, and according to the state, that is sufficient enough. Okay, and we've tested it, so the kids will not fall down. We put some adults on there because it's much funner to test it with adults than it is with kids. But please put the orange traffic cones over the stakes if that happens. The next one, number 10, run an electrical cord with a GFCI box. I'm going to show you that. I can stretch it pretty far. I'll unplug these real quick and try to stretch it as far as I can. Yeah. I'd also like to thank my father-in-law at this time for hooking this up for us. But the reason why they want you to do that is this automatically comes with something that will trip. So if there's too much power or something messes up, zoom in. It'll trip before the breaker in your church does. But the state does require these GFCI boxes and an appropriate size cord, which we made sure to get that taken care of, so y'all don't have to worry about that. Has been inspected by the state. They approve. But it has to be plugged into this. Now, let's say that you're out in the middle of a field or somewhere and you need another extension cord. We provide more extension cords that are this thick. But the blowers themselves, no matter how much extension cord you use, the blowers themselves have to be plugged into that GFCI box. Have to be plugged in. Oh, my book over there? Yes. Yep, I did. Ate too much food, now I'm out of breath. So those GFCI, it has to be plugged into that. If they see that without it plugged in, you can get fined. On page 6, there's a few do nots that we need to show. No one under the age of 3 needs to be on a blow up because most of the time 1-year-olds, 2-year-olds are just too small. All right, and not even with a parent. The second one, no shoes, glasses, pens, hanging keys, pocket knives, butcher knives, machetes, nothing like that need to be used when jumping up. I don't know why you'd want to jump with any of those, but just in case, don't jump with those. No foods, drinks, snow cones, suckers, candy, etc. on the bouncy house or the blow up. We want at least one adult per bounce house. Has to be someone over 18. If your teens want to help, we don't mind your teens helping. That's a good way for them to get involved, but they still need to have an adult there. We need someone of 18 age or older. If you look at page 7, that's just a reiteration on number 6 in bold. I'm going to let you all read through this because most of this is self-explanatory on the do's and do nots. Obviously, don't dangle a kid over the slide, silly things like that. But on number 7 it says, be sure not to tear or remove the inspection tag that is attached to the blower. That could be major, major trouble. So now we're going to flip on. You've got some pages in here that tell you how to operate the blower, how to set up the bounce house. Got some pictures like that. We're going to show you that, how you can fold it up and everything, because there's a certain way they need to be folded. It shows you how you can do your generator, how to start it, just in case you need one of those. It even tells you, that's neat about this book, it has meals that you can do. Like on page 20 and 21, it gives you all sorts of things from barbecue chicken and how you can plan for a certain number of people. Beans, everyone loves beans. The more you eat, the more you, never mind. Page 23 is the same as page 1, so we don't need to go over that. Keep on flipping to page 27. Now, Candy can send you an email with this on it, but this is something that is also provided. It is a way that you can put like a sign-up sheet. If you're having an event and you want someone to sign up, they can put their name, their address, their city, and she sends it to you. Is it a PDF?
No, I think it's you can change it yourself.
Yeah.
I guess it's a Word document.
Yeah, the point is that you can actually change it. So if you want to add more information, if you want to put the gospel down there, if you want to say, have you ever accepted Christ, that type of stuff, like things that are down there, she can send this to you in an email. On the next page, page 29, it also gives you an opportunity to make a flyer if you don't come up with your own. We have kind of a basic here. It has everything. You can change this up because, one, I don't like clowns. I had to be one time, and ever since then it scarred me. So I don't want to be a clown. I don't want to see a clown. I'm not scared of them. I just don't like them. But you can change it up however you want. Obviously, your event's not going to be July 3rd this year. Maybe it will be. But you want to be able to change it up, and Candy can send that to you, and you can use that if you need to. If you want to make up your own flyer, that's fine. Page 33 is the forms that we need to get to. The first one is scheduling the West Union Baptist Association Evangelism trailer. Once again, at the top, we want to remind you of the checks. I'm not going to go over that again. But this is one of the forms that needs to be filled out in order to get the evangelism trailer. Also on page 35 is another form. This is the form you have to fill out with the vehicle that you will be using. If you look down at the bottom, it says, have you included the following: certificate of liability from your insurance company from the church, a copy of a valid driver's license from the individual who plans to pick up the trailer. All right, we want you a legal driver. This next one is important. The copy of proof of insurance for the vehicle that you'll be picking up the trailer. Before you use your vehicle, you may want to call your insurance company to make sure that your coverage is able to cover it, because as soon as you attach it to your vehicle, it is no longer on West Union Baptist Association's insurance. It's on either your church or yourself if you're using your personal vehicle. As soon as I hooked it up to my truck, my insurance then had to pick up. So if something were to happen to the trailer, the contents on the inside, if I was involved in a wreck, then my insurance would have to pay for the trailer. And so we need that proof, because frankly, we're not going to let you take it if you don't have the proper insurance, because that's an expensive trailer. And the stuff in it is also expensive as well. So you'll need to send Candy your certificate of liability from your church. Give her a copy of your driver's license. We don't steal identity, so don't worry about that. And then a copy of your proof of your insurance. And then that way we can make sure that everything is taken care of. Page 37.
I have a question.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Will you email these to us again,
Yes.
these forms? Okay.
Yeah.
Next thing, if you've had our insurance on file and it's the same, do we still need to resubmit it?
If it's not expired.
Okay.
I only had 2 churches that weren't expired
Okay.
that I switched over this year, so we'll need your new one.
Okay.
If you didn't hear what she's saying, she was asking if they already had the information from where they've used it before. Yes, as long as nothing has expired, we can still use that same information. 37, it says I've read and comply with all rules and regulations stated in the manual. I'll complete and return all forms when the event is over. And if I do not follow all rules and regulations stated in the operations manual and it results in a fine by the state of Kentucky, you get to pay it. Yay! Page 39. This is a very important form, and I'll tell you why. When we used this for the first time, we had someone there that was just checking as we brought things off. And it just helps to keep track of what you bring off that you're using. It has everything that is on the trailer on this list, so you can check it as you're bringing it off and then check it as you're bringing it back on, just to make sure that you have everything accounted for. And that's page 39. Page 40, and also page 41.
And you all will get these forms in a folder when you pick up the keys to the thing. So all these the holes are in it, you'll be able to read it better in the folder that you get.
Yeah, you don't have to pull it out of this manual. She'll have all that for you because she's awesome. And then all the things like the trash bags, Clorox wipes, yellow armbands. We've got tracts, we've got Bibles on there. We just need to know if you use those so we can make sure to replace them. Okay, to make sure if you use, we want you to hand out Bibles for the love of heaven. If someone don't have a Bible, give them a Bible. I will personally replace them myself if you give out a Bible. But we just need to know so we can make sure to keep all the supplies up and going.
The armbands are good if you want to make sure that they register. The only way they get the armbands is if they register. And the only way they can get on the inflatables or whatever is if they have an armband. So.
And what we did is when we used it, for the very first time, we need to get a little more strict about that. You can edit that. We put yellow armbands on, but then we wrote their names on there. So if a kid, says, hey, I don't know where my mom and dad is, we can come over to the microphone and say, hey, you lost your kid, their last name is so-and-so, and they come up. But it also made sure to where the parents just didn't drop off their kids as a free babysitting service provided by the church. And the only way that they could get on the bounce houses and things was if they had that armband and their parent was with them. So that also kind of helps make sure that the parents are not just dropping it off as a free baby service. Not that anyone would ever do that.
Is that listed in here? I mean, is that in here that they need an armband to get on?
No, that's just, you don't have to do that.
Okay. That's a great idea.
Yeah, no, you don't have to do that. That's just a suggestion because, well, I can't say that, I'm on camera. All right, page 43. Gotta remember, once it's on the internet, it's everywhere. You have WUBA 1, WUBA 2, and WUBA 3. The big slide is WUBA 3. WUBA 1 and WUBA 2 are the 2 bounce houses that are identical. These are all the things that you need to check off to make sure before you use the bounce house. If you notice in bold, the blower is working and plugged into a GFCI 110 volt outlet. Those are provided. You don't have to worry about that, but it is so important that that happens. We do not want you to be fined at all. That would be very, very bad. All right, flip on over to page 47, please.
And be sure and check each one and not just put a line down.
Yeah, check each one because when you put a line down, that's just...
Not that that's been done before.
Never, because once it's on the internet, it don't go away.
Oh, face paint, if y'all have face painting.
Most of the places they'll have like people doing face painting.
They need to do it after they're done with the jumping.
We
because it
we
just-
actually had that problem.
paint
Didn't
goes
pay
all
attention
over.
to it until
That's
after
right.
the fact. Cleaning it,
Because they're sweating.
Brett, not on camera. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, the page, but that is a very good point, and I forgot to mention that, so thank you. Yeah, just don't do the face paint because it can stain them and everything else. On page 47, this is a very important one. If you take this, let's say you're going on a mission trip, you want to do a backyard Bible club, and you're going out of state. Your church is responsible for the state that you're getting it inspected in. We are inspected in Kentucky, and right now still for Illinois. It was inspected because Lone Oak First Baptist and I think 12 Oaks took a giant youth thing up to Chicago, Illinois for a mission trip. So it has been inspected in Illinois and it's been inspected in Kentucky. But the reason why we ask you to do it is because we have no idea where your church is going. And to try to get it inspected in all 50 states would be very, very costly to the association. So if you're taking it in a different state, then we'll need you to make sure that that gets inspected. And this is the form that you would turn in to show that you have had it inspected. Once again, it has been inspected in Kentucky and Illinois as of right now. Page 49, this is just simply an equipment repair log. If you are working the blow up and you see a cut in it or something that needs to be addressed, you need to put that on this log. Now, these are blow ups. They have been designed to let out air in different spots. Otherwise, you keep blowing up a balloon, what happens? Pops. All right, just imagine with all that air that's going through it, if they didn't have places for air to seep out. So you may have a parent saying, well, my kid said they felt air. 95 to 99% of the time, it is because they just have to be near an area where it's designed to seep a little air so it doesn't blow up.
And there is repair tape on the trailer, which would be nice if you could use it when you do find a hole, because it's easier for you to do it when you see it instead of us having to unroll it trying to figure out where the hole was at.
But still put in your repair log that you did it. So if it's just kind of a repair tape, duct tape fixes all type deal fix, we can make sure that it's okay with the state and make sure that the repair is legitimate so the next church doesn't use the trailer and
Fourth year
yeah.
it's been used. We've never had a hole in it.
They've been very well taken care of, and we're thankful for that. Very thankful. Number 51. If someone does get injured, page 51, would you please just put it down in this first aid report, and then also on page 53, an incident and accident report, because we want to know if there's an injury. So if they call us, if the state calls us, we can know to give them the proper information that it was by accident, that everyone was being responsible. But this also helps keep everyone in check and watching your own rear end is the best way to say that. That is all from the book part. Do you have any questions about this, about how to haul it or what's on the trailer or any forms or anything like that that you have questions about?
How many people do you recommend actually to set it up and take it down?
Very good questions.
As many as possible.
Yeah, me and him actually were able to get all this out on our own, and so two people easily can take that up, set it down. On this one, all hands on deck. Minimum of 4, I would suggest, because once the air goes out, you have to fold it like a 3-folding bulletin. You'll fold one side over to the middle, and we'll show you that here in a minute, and then fold the other one over. And then you start at the small end, and you start rolling it as tight as you can, and there's a lot of air to get out. Even though you've unzipped it and everything, and you unzip it at the same time, and all the air gets out, there's still a lot that gets pushed out when you're rolling it. And we generally put about 3 guys on it when we're rolling it up. So don't let them take off early. You definitely want your workers to stick around for this one. So let's do something real quick. Let's get you all up and get you stretching. I'm going to show you how to hook this one up, and then I'll have you hook all the other ones up around it. These come with the hooks. Some of them have them on the bags. Some of them have them on the blower. It doesn't matter either way. But you're just simply going to hook it on like that. And no, you don't need to get a wrench over here and crank it down. Once you get, according to the state, about 2 or 3 threads on, you're good. All right, that's just the easy way. Just put 2 or 3 threads. I keep it close like that until it's blown up. And then once it's blown up, I'll grab it and I'll stretch it to where there's a little bit of tension on it. And that way we know that it can't sway either way. So if we can just make sure all of them are hooked up, Then I'll show you the GFCI box, then we're going to blow it up. So if you'll just make sure that all of them are hooked. If you don't have a hook on it, that doesn't, this one needs to, there should be, yeah, right here.
Oh,
Because this one's different.
so this right here. Oh.
Yeah, you hook it on
Oh,
that
like-
little.
like these flip it around.
Mm-hmm.
Twist there.
Like I said, just once you get a few twists on there,
Yeah, it's amazing how many thousand things can withstand like 1,500 or something. Like stout.
put them all on. Yeah, just so this one, let's see. Yeah, and I'll explain these. These we'll put on in just a second. That will still just be hooked up. Do we have that one already done? Excellent, excellent. Now the reason why I'll wait till it's blown up to hook these on is because there's one time I was like, man, why is that thing not blowing up?
Oh, it's holding
I'd tied it too tight and it was holding it down.
I see. It makes sense.
So that was a bad day. Good news is no one was injured. Now, like I said, you want to make sure that these are plugged into the GFCI box because it automatically has that breaker because you just don't know what'll happen. So go ahead and flip them on. We left some cord on there. We'll let her blow up and then I'll show you how to test it to make sure it's inflated properly. I just like to make sure there's full tension on it. Like so. We don't have to tie up all these. But let me show you the test real quick. Whether it's this one or whether it's that one, there's one simple test to show that it's inflating properly. Press it in, you move your hand, as soon as it pops back out, you know that it's inflated properly and it's ready to begin with kids jumping on it. You just press in.
So it's ready right now.
Yeah, it's ready right now.
It's just continuing to keep the air in the air.
Yes, and then it has little, like I said, it's designed where there's little places for the air to seep out so it doesn't pop.
Yeah, I'll see.
But it'll keep going the entire time. I do want to show you this right here. When it comes time to deflate, you generally want one person on each. There's one right here. There is, let's see, yeah. One right here. There will be a matching one on the other side. And then back here, guys, here's your other ones. Now, like for example, you can put your hand right here and you'll feel air coming out. It's not supposed to perfectly seal it, otherwise it pops. So you can feel the seeping of the air.
Unfilled, two,
Yeah.
All at the same time.
Yes, you want to undo them all at the same time because...
There you go.
Huh?
I'm like, ready to go.
Yeah, race that go and unsip them all. But here's a little suggestion, and we'll show this in just a second. Since we don't have these tied up, once you unzip it and it starts to go down, you want to hold this forward. Otherwise, it's going to try to go backwards, and it's just that much more that you have to try to move over. So as it goes down, just hold on to it, and just keep pulling, and that way it falls inward, because that's how you're going to have to fold. So before we move on, I want to make sure you have it clipped, you pull them out to where there's tension on it. We're not doing it right now just for the sake of time, but each one of these has to be tied down to something.
at an angle or straight?
And however you want to do it. I always try to put one out and one forward on each side so it doesn't rock this way, and then when it's out to the side, it keeps it from rocking that way.
I mean, if you have something like a telephone pole or something stationary that's there, use it. You can use it too. I mean, it's not going to, I mean, that's better off to use it going back. It's not going to anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously you're not going to use a tree because you don't need to be that close to a tree. But, and another thing is, this is pretty tall. Don't put it under a power line. I mean, common sense stuff, you know. But, like at our church, we have a basketball goal that's in concrete at the end of our parking lot. And I asked the state inspector, I said, "This thing's in concrete. Can I tie it around it?" He said, "Yes." It was something that was harder and couldn't move as much. And so we tied it off to that because we were on asphalt, but then we were also able to use that. So I would have this one about where Brett is, and then I'd have the other one out like this. So it keeps it from doing this motion, and the fact that there's two on each side keeps it from doing that.
Yeah. But no matter what, make sure these are attached to something.
Yes, before any kids get on, because
The bottom's good, but the top, I mean, I've been up there before moving around.
it still goes side to side even with the bags on it. Now, if you're on grass, you can use those stakes as well. You can stake it down, and you can double it up if you want to do a stake and a bag. But definitely have one out that way and one out this way, and then that way it keeps it from moving back and
You ought
forth.
to try it. I know you want to.
I do, but
You ain't gonna hurt our feelings.
He'll hold it real tight. Go for it.
I got too many things.
Well, we ain't gonna steal it. Don't get wrong, Christians here.
No knife.
I got everything on me. I can do it. Just leave it there.
We'll leave it at that. Okay, mine's out in my truck. I'm the second guy too, brother. You're in good company. All right, is there any questions about this? Okay, so what I need one person on the front, one person on this one person on the other one, and two guys on the back. Now here in a second, I'm going to shut these blowers off. It'll start to go down a little bit, but I'm going to give us a 1, 2, 3, and that. You're going to do that, hold this one this way, so it'll go forward. Sir, can I get you on that one right there? Do you mind?
man. Ready? Yeah, go ahead and shut them off. Ready? All right. 1, 2, 3. Unzip. Now, wherever you're at, try to keep that flap open. Like hold it open because it will collapse on itself. Am I pulling like tug of war kind of pulling? Yeah. Just enough to keep it in. I think I got
Oh, no, he didn't say anything about that.
All right. We'll still have to adjust it a little bit. That's fine. You definitely want to, if you have that flap, make sure that your flap is out so it can still release that air. And we'll leave that unzipped the entire time because as you're rolling it out, it's going to force air out as we go. If we could go ahead and unhook the bags on each side.
Another thing to remember is whenever you do blow it up, the zippers are already unzipped from where it went down before. So the first thing you're going to do after you unroll it and unfold it and everything, zip them all up.
Good will.
You just start blowing it up, you're like, what's going on?
Yeah. Just a little push clamp. All right. Now we'll go ahead and grab this. Sometimes if you walk on a little bit, it can hurt. Pull that in like so. Make sure it's all the way in. Perfect. Good. See what that does is that automatically gets those zippers open, which you want to definitely stay open while we're rolling it. Otherwise, you'll find out what it takes to make a Baptist cut. I'm just kidding. You eat all of it. I know that. It's probably good.
You're going to have to edit a lot, man.
All right, straps go inside and outside.
Yes, sir. Inside. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So what we want to start off with is 3 guys on this side, 1 in the middle, 1 on each end. And if you still have the clamp on there, go ahead and put a couple threads on it because we don't want slip off and lose it. Now in this case, it's okay if you walk on it because what we're going to do is we're going to 3-fold this thing. Like I said, the more people you got, the better. We're going to roll it up. We're going to do it about 1/3 of the way. Bring a little bit more, help him out over there on that back end there. You want to try to pull the straps right in the middle. Yes, good. All right, same thing on this one. This is the part where it gets really fun. There's still a little bang on this one. Same thing here. You get the same breakdown right here.
This is where you want the kids. Let them roll down through them. Oh, they got it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've been known to lay on it and roll. We can do that here in just a second. Let's go ahead and let's show this one because I want to show. Actually, we definitely want to get this right here. One thing, obviously, the wind of Thursday, you wouldn't want to have these blowed up because there's a lot of wind. But we generally, in your manual, it'll say about 12 to 13 miles an hour is too fast. What's kind of a key thing is if leaves and or sticks are blowing across your yard pretty healthy or across the churchyard, kind of a telltale sign that it's too windy. Now, if you look, every single one of these, Wooba 1, Wooba 2, and that big guy right there have the name on it. Now, if you come back here on the blower, you'll see Wooba 2. Has to be that way. Has to be that way. Because if it doesn't have Wooba 2, State inspector comes by, not a good thing. If you notice, we already have it plugged into a GFCI box. Okay? That also just keeps it protected. We have had them break before or trip before, and you can reset it. But if it's tripping, that means that there's something not generating enough power to cause it to trip. So you may want to plug it into a different outlet or use a generator. Okay? So what we're going to do, this one's a little bit different. It doesn't have zippers. You just tie these up. It has 3 of them. One goes for the blower. Really, you can put the blower on any of them. Doesn't have to be the center one. I'm just weird like that. I have to have it in the middle. All right, but once it comes time to shut that off, and I'll show you in just a second, we like to undo those before we shut it off. Then shut it off, and you've got more air coming out, and it takes a little bit extra time. So this one doesn't take nowhere near as long to blow up, and we'll go ahead and show you that real quick. As soon as I find the power button, here we go. Start doing that, just adjust it a little bit here and there. Once it blows up, it levels out too. This one, whenever it goes down, pillars of the end always sink in. If it doesn't, it's not the plate problem. So go ahead and undo those. Oh, no, stop. Thank you so much. I was fixing this thing. Yes, you did some great things. This is the reason why you have the bags on.
So is it in the boot? I mean,
You get 6 kids in there jumping, jump around. You know, it's going to be all over the place. So that's another reason they can do that. That's your pleasure. I appreciate it. But that's why we have the bags on it, because that keeps it also to move around, keeps the kids safe. So let's go ahead and undo those.
I mean, I've got it open pretty good. And it still keeps it up.
That's the only 2 places you can play.
Yeah, these 2 places are the only places you can
Bill,
play.
is here I've got a pretty good hole. And it's still
lighting up. So this generator has more than enough power to do it. Yeah, this one's a lot easier.
Oh, wow.
I didn't want to start you on this one,
Yeah.
because then you really get disappointed with that one.
Good idea.
Now, this one also folds like a 3-folded bulletin, but let me show you some of the first things that you have to do. One, as it goes down, this front part is going to go in like so. All right, and it'll take a few seconds for it to go down. It's still doing the same. The reason why you want to have those holes stay open, those are the only place for it to bleed out. So as you start rolling it, it's forcing more air out to make it more tight and compact, which is easier to move it around. Trust me, please, it is easier to move it around that way. So we'll just put it in like that. Takes a few seconds for it to undo. See what's going on up back here. Make sure we got everything.
So these are the only 3 pockets. Unzip.
Yep, no zippers. Now this one's different. It doesn't have the big black straps. It just has these little bands right here with the clamp on it. And then you clip it right in right there. But what's neat about this, if you don't mind grabbing that one, sir, it only takes me and him to fold that one over. And if you all grab that in, fold it back over this way. Perfect.
Tuck him in.
Yeah, tuck him in. Thank you. Like a bed, you want to have it tucked in. Now, obviously when it comes time to start rolling, You want to roll at that end. All right, so, because you're forcing all the air out this way. Now, if you'll notice, my straps are still kind of in the area. We'll show you how to tighten it down and strap it. But we'll go ahead and start with this one. Anyone want to roll besides me? Man, you got to teach us. Oh, yeah. You don't have to learn how to roll. I look like a dead walrus trying to get back in the ocean. over fat walrus.
So you're a lot younger than I am, so you can get
Yeah, but my equilibrium's still all messed up. It still likes to. All right, so I'll have you get over on one side and we'll double team it. And you want to, yeah, keep doing like that. And then once we get it going.
Oh, you know, this is pretty tight.
Yeah. We try to roll it really tight because that way it just saves room on the trailer. And it also is a chance for Baptists to get rid of their frustrations.
Seems like you would fold it again one more time.
Well, we tried it, and when you do, it makes it that much tighter and a little bit harder to roll.
Much harder to roll.
Now, what we'll do when we get to the end is we roll it so it gets to the very end, like this,
Strap these in or not?
and then we roll back to make sure we got all the air out, and then fold those in.
Okay, do not latch them.
No, do not latch them. And then,
Here we go.
like so. Now,
Looks like a burrito, you're done.
Yep.
yeah, tasty burrito. Now, these things aren't really that heavy.
All the straps.
As you can tell, yeah, I'll let you take care of that. Perfect. Now, however you want to do it, it's to each his own. But there we go. You do it like that. You just get that much more. Now, what I do, and it doesn't have to stay perfectly tight, it's just to keep it from unraveling. But I take this strap once I got pulled through, I go under, like so, and then I pull up. And then that way the next guy, all he has to do is pull.
Oh, you put the slip knot in.
Yeah.
I didn't go that route. I went the other way.
Boy, yours ain't coming undone.
Does he get his deposit back for that?
Yeah. Well, mine is $10. All right, so I started you off with the easy one.
Well, that's good. Hey, thanks for the trip.
Hey, training. All right, thanks. We'll see y'all later, and come back anytime.
We still got to get that one rolled up first.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no, they already showed us how to roll them up.
Yeah, you don't have to stay here for the rest of it. This one, you're not ever going to be able to get all the air perfectly out, but we try to do the best we can. I knew we'd eventually do it.
I knew you wanted
Just like the rest of us, we all got a little bit of fun in this, don't we?
Was it as much fun as you thought?
It's pretty key.
I guess so. You did
Which,
good.
to open it up? Yeah. And before we move anything, I want to take them out there and show them that trailer so they can see where everything.
to. You guys still got the little placements for where everything goes.
The what?
The placements over there.
Yes. Well, actually, what we did is we literally wrote on the walls where each thing goes.
So last thing you had pictures.
Well, the pictures are on the door to show where they're all on the door. But we also labeled on the shelves and above the shelves and on the walls. So we try to make it.
Very organized. You guys are
Yeah,
there.
yeah. We had it was in a real bad mess, and so there's an engineer that was so gracious enough to reorganize it, and everything was precise.
I'm sure.
It'd been like your dad had done it. Is the best way to describe it. So this one, it'll take about 3 of us. We start off just down here doing like this, because the tighter you roll it, the better. But it will take. It's going to be a booger of a weld. Let's get his side cut up, keep going. And another thing is when you're rolling it up, try to keep it as even as possible, because when we get to the end, we got to put that giant orange sleeve over it. Now it's going good. I don't want to see anything. still got to get to this wonderful end. All right, let's have your end go forward just a hair bit. We'll keep this end back. Perfect. Yeah, actually, we're getting to the fun part. Like I said, the more men, the better. There's one time we were rolling up, and we only had 3 of us, and a couple others were being foremen, and we're just looking. And I'm like, dude, I'm about to get a hernia. Anytime you want to try to,
Yeah, y'all want to come over here?
all right, let's roll it back just a little bit. All right, now we're gonna leave it up to you to roll it back. I'm just kidding. You're all alone. Woo!
Or you'll put those common laws on it to.
Yeah, we'll do that in just a second. Because what we'll do is we'll use a ratchet strap.
How it is?
If you didn't get your cardio in, you're good.
Got it.
Yeah.
Just now.
I'll just tell them how to do it. Shoot. That's never worked for me. Let me know how that goes when it works out. All right, now here comes the fun part. I need one other person to help me lift this in,
Okay, look.
and both of y'all to slide it under.
How about not lifting it, just roll it over on top of it?
There you go, slide it right up. Yep, good. Perfect. Huh?
How many straps you get?
Just one.
Have you ever put the obstacle course up and down before?
No.
Okay. My wife just said we have that reserved. Great. I don't know how to put it up and down.
You're going to another training.
Yeah. No.
You have to do that on the line.
Yeah.
Watch the video.
That one's going to be
Yeah.
that one's going to be on the job training. It sounds like to me.
Yeah. I got the gist.
Now you know that if your honey wants you to do something, you need to go do it.
Probably will. Happy wife, happy life.
That's right.
You don't have to edit that. It's good information.
Oh, it's wonderful information. All right.
Yeah, hard to
Now this is just to try to keep the ratchet itself.
Yeah,
From cutting
getting in
into
there,
the-
yeah. What's something like this cost? 7,000, 8,000?
Hey Candy, how much did this one cost?
Maybe 1,200?
That's it? No.
12,900.
How much?
12,900.
No.
That's probably more. I bet it's 5 to 10,000. No, I'm not gonna buy one. Just curious. Just curious.
Now, here comes the difficult part. So far, we've been successful each time. So what I need to do is we need to stand it up on this end and try to get this as far down as we can. And then this way.
All right, come
stand
out.
up.
Go. Oh. What?
Big end goes up first because it's what we have
I'll
to
see.
wrap. And you get the top end much smaller, a little bit better. Get out. Get out, Dean. You can. We try to go down at the same time. I said a minimum of 4, but a minimum of 5 I think would do.
5 to 6.
The hard thing is keeping it stable. This side needs to go down a little bit more. While you are pulling on it, jerking down on it. All right, keep going a little bit more. You don't want anything on the bottom to be loose because we're getting ready to flip it over. All right, everyone clear? All right, come down towards me. All right, now let's get about all 5 of us. 1, 2.
What?
We're gonna lift it up. Now, like you're a go-getter. You didn't even wait. Let's do it.
I didn't. Somebody else did all the way. 5 pounds.
All right. It's a little bit long, but it's
So, do we get a deposit back for this or not?
yes.
Just roll up. It counts.
It counts. Only time it doesn't count is when it's obviously not put in, and it's just laid over.
Yeah. So what do they do when they just throw it in here?
Thankfully, they just didn't throw this one in there, but when we got to it, this one had tipped over. Oh, Mother May I. The good news is I got it right here.
That is rude.
It's all on the tray.
Is that all of them?
Yeah, it's not moving off the table.
Nope, I got another one right here.
Well, you'll have some men power. No, seriously.
Yeah, let's go back because we need to get all of them
We'll
up.
do it right there.
Now my first rodeo.
Y'all are wearing me out this watching.
I'm watching this watching.
What else? There you go. We got all of them?
I believe so. It doesn't really matter how you do this, just as long as you put it pretty tight where it holds it in.
Like a thrill being like
Now you got to throw it over your shoulder and pack it out.
Yeah, that's the rule. Throw it over your shoulder, bag it up.
That's why they leave this hanging down.
Y'all just gonna back out? I know why you carrying it out.
This is just an oversized backpack. Now you got to take these straps and you got to pack it to the trailer.
This is what the Marines carry when they do. Now let me bring you out here real quick so we can check out the trailer. Oh, we still got a little
What's
bit.
that thing weigh, Jerry?
I'm sorry?
What's that weigh?
400.
400.
Oh, I bet it weighs. You don't think it weighs more than that?
The big one weighs 400?
I bet it weighs more
I
than
thought
that.
it was more than that.
I would.
I thought it was like 6
All right.
I bet
So, let me
I
show
bet
you
it
this.
is.
It has to be. I think they.
It sounds better at least.
I think they.
I was
like
thinking it was
candy.
6 because the dolly I got was for 7.
Yeah. It's,
All right. So, if you notice,